Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Murphy Table. I hope everyone who is celebrating a Father's Day is having a good Father's Day today. And I wanted to take the time to show you Advanced Platoon Leader that just came out not too long ago. Jason from H&S Games reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do a preview review. It's not preview, but like a review, show the components from the print and play game. And then once I have it together, I actually want to go through and maybe do some playthrough stuff. So I've got some different components to show you. So the first thing I want to do is show you the rule book. Now I'm not going to show you every page, that's got a bit boring. But we'll go take a look at the Board Game Geek website for a moment for Advanced Platoon Leader, and also show you some of the things that he's got there in support already, which is great because he's throwing a lot of support behind this game, which is fantastic. So the rules, they come in, it's 24 pages total, according to my little device here, but, you know, you figure one page cover, table of contents, and then it gets into the rules, and then when we get all the way to the back, you figure there's another page for the back, so you're at like 21 pages of rules, and then there's designer notes and some other things. So actually for game mechanic rules, there's maybe going to be about 19 pages, so not heavy. So what's Advanced Platoon Leader? That's the journey we're going to take together. We're going to take a look at some of the components and show you what makes up Advanced Platoon Leader here, and maybe give you an idea if this is something you want to get into. Now, I've been trying to think, did I want to assemble it and then show you everything? I haven't assembled it yet. What I'm going to do is actually show you how I plan to assemble it, and then when we go and do like a playthrough, you can see how the pieces will fit together and give you a better idea of the game. So it's really hard to explain the game when, you know, all I have to show you are some counters and stuff like that. But let's show you the components. So here's the rule book. Like I said, we're not going to go over every single page, but there's your introduction. It goes over components, how to read the map. The maps I'll show you here in a moment, but what's nice is it's not one single map. What we have, I'll bring out the first item here, just to kind of give you an idea how this works. This is going to be map tiles. So instead of a single map, you're going to have a whole bunch of map tiles. There's about, oops, bump that. Let's see, we're going to have about, there's 12, when you get the print and play file, there's 12 PDF files that come with about three tiles and then a backside. So what is that? 3 times 12 is 36. Math is not my strong point. But what's nice is the way these are set up is they got the center line here. My wife has a scrapbook tool, which I'm going to use to kind of perforate a little bit. So when I cut these out, they'll just fold nicely, so I'll have a front and back. This is also printed on cardstock. So when I went to the printer, he recommended cardstock because the cardstock, he said, like, it holds the print better. I don't know, it's hard to, the camera might not show it, but when I have, for example, I don't even know if that really shows a difference. In person, the cardstock is a little brighter, a little more vibrant than the print to the paper. So the print to the paper still looks nice, but the cardstock seems to give it a little more vibrancy. So I went ahead and printed the map tiles to the cardstock just to kind of make those a little more vibrant. But anyway, so you have your various terrain cards that will make up virtually an unlimited amount of maps that you can play on. Then you have your counters, stat cards for tracking various statistics as you go forward, your squad information, because these are platoons you're running around, so you'll have like your leader, and then that's like first platoon, first squad, first platoon, second squad, so on and so forth. Second platoon leader, second platoon, first squad. And of course, there's going to be rules for all this stuff. Again, just kind of going through line of sight. But I'm going to show you the interesting stuff as I get near the end. So, of course, how to use all your terrain. Now the rules, well, they're posted on Board Game Geek, so you can come and read them for yourself as well. So I'm just flipping through. There's events, scenarios, optional rules, smoke, fire. So you have a lot of basic stuff you'd expect to see in some kind of Platoon level games. Volume of accurate fire, facings. Build your own scenarios. So this is the parts that caught me. So yeah, I flipped through the first set of rules, just what's in here, and I got to the back. Build your own scenario. So this is the part that excites me the most. Once I learn how to play, I'm actually very excited because that means I can take map tiles, the build your own scenarios, create your own orders of battles. There's a campaign system. Where was it? Point-based game. So this will allow a person to really have an infinite amount of replayability. So pick up your one set of rules. Now you can buy like a boxed version. This is just a print and play that Jason sent me. So that was very exciting because this is going to let me continue building on my print and play skills, but it gives me a game with really, I think, is going to be an infinite amount of replayability. That's fantastic in a game like this. So even though there's not many components, once we kind of get looking at everything, it's still going to be a very value-packed game. And then there's your designer notes. So there's the rules. Now let's take a look at Board Game Geek real quick. Interweb. So I came through today, pictures, because like I said, there's also a box version, so you can go through, take a look at some of the different box art and whatnot. And then Jason himself has put up a couple videos. Got to the game. There you go. Here's some threads. So again, you can go through and look at your own stuff here. Oh, this was nice. So this was a couple things I wanted to point out. The print and play file system he uses, it expires. Your files expire after a few days. So if you purchase your product from them, you want to make sure you download the files as soon as possible. They're there for 7 days and then they expire. But in the thread, if that happens, just contact him and they can send you out the files if they expire. Or let's say down the road you lose your files, you want to re-download it, just contact them. So even though the files expire after 7 days, don't worry, you still have the ability to get all your files. You just have to contact Jason. Replacement sheet, same thing there. If things become corrupt, ruined, damaged from either your box purchased product, let them know. It says they'll send out replacement sheets. So like I said, lots of great support. Then he's got the rules here, so you can come and read the rules for yourself. So you don't have to purchase a game and then feel disappointed. I think it's really cool that he put the rules out, gives everyone a chance to check for yourself if it's something you're interested in. And then also he's put out 12th SS stat cards, which I think I closed it. I don't think I've got them open. Yeah, let's just open it. What's nice, and be cool to see if he does more, is he put out these stat cards. So as you create like your own scenarios and whatnot, you possibly could play. You could play the Germans, and you can put other units. So let's see here. So you've got like your standard stat cards here. Then eventually you could get themed. So it'd be nice to see more. Yeah, it's hard to see. This is a German. Because it's got, you can kind of see the outline of the cross. And here's the generic. I say generic because it's not a specific unit. Then it's got the star for Americans. But now, I hope he does more because it looks nice. But now he'll eventually put out at least this 12th SS. So he has a specific unit you could play as. So that's very, very cool. So there's some support there on Board Game Geek. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the components in a little more detail. A little bit. So again, here's your stat cards. This right here has got 3 American platoons on it. First, second, third platoon with their squads. And then here's where you track their dice. And again, since I haven't played yet, I still want to assemble my copy. I did look in the rules, and you're going to have dice that represent various qualities of your platoons, and you can fill them out here. So there's room for dice. So basically these stat cards will be with you on the playing field to track your squads and their combat, I want to say status, their combat effectiveness. So there's your stat cards. And then, like I said, we're going to get 12 map tile cards. Now, here's something else that's really, really good. All of these printed out on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. So for a print and play player, that's fantastic because you don't have to spend extra money to print out one huge map. So again, depending on how you print, with the cardstock, I forget how much that was. It was close to $1, and then just the regular sheets of paper were around 60-some cents, somewhere in there. Not quite 69 cents. Maybe that's the number stuck in my head. But altogether, I didn't print the rules, I didn't print scenarios, I just printed the map tiles, stat cards, a reference sheet, and the counters, which I'll show you here in a moment. Altogether, it cost me about $15 to print. That's because I went with the little more expensive cardstock, but I think they look really good. So there's all your map tiles. Little like orchards, hills, fields, cultivated fields, cornfields, wheat fields, little open areas with roads, more roads. There you go, little building sections, little bridge, river section there, church, little villages. So quite a bit of variety, which is great. Plus, if you get to print and play, and you want more of a specific type of terrain, so if you really wanted to, say, do some city action, you could print extras of a particular map tile page, and then you could just create a dense kind of village city area to fight around. So nice variety and options there. So there's your map tiles, stat cards there. Here's the victory point track and your turn track, weather. Again, if you can cut all this out, perforate it, you can just fold it on itself, kind of glue the backside, fold it, which I didn't quite think of at first, because at first I was just going to cut it completely and then put it on some thick paper, a little bit thicker than cardstock, but just give it some rigidity. However, I think the way that this is, I think I'll just kind of glue it to itself, so it'll be paper, so they're not going to be terribly thick, but because the way the game lays out, it's not like I'm picking up these pieces and moving them around a lot. They're going to be static on the mat board, so I think just leaving them as paper will be fine. But I'll show you some other ideas I have here in just a moment. So like with the map, same thing. If I cut that out, my wife perforates here, this will be cardstock on cardstock, so it'll be a little bit thicker, a little rigidity. But I mean, it's still, it's paper, so it depends on how much rigidity you want, thickness. It's tough to say what's best. I got an idea. I'm going to show you guys something here in a minute. You can tell me what you think. Then we have four sheets of counters. There's counter sheet 1. Looks like when I was looking here, there's a lot of Germans. A lot of Germans. So then you got German hero, American hero. Then you got some American units up here. Then we got like they're blank counters on purpose, but they represent various statuses. All right, and again, I'm not quite sure what all the different. I was thinking because it's got a weather track. Just hear me out for a second. I'm not sure how that matches up. Maybe not. It said weather. I thought maybe these could be different types of weather. Fog, rain. Who knows? You'll find out when I find out. Or you'll find out before me if you read the rules before me. Then we got some more like platoon leaders, then some more squads to make up your platoons. And then we have some equipment. There's light machine guns, medium machine guns, heavy machine guns, some mortars, satchel charges, some more utility markers, bullet holes, fire, smoke, possibly movement direction markers. Now, one thing, they don't appear to be double-sided. I haven't looked. I don't honestly know if these were supposed to match up No, because that really doesn't match up with anything. Yeah, so I believe these are all going to be single-sided counter sheets, which is totally cool. I thought I had 4 counter sheets. I must have buried one. Yeah, I guess it's 3. I thought I had 4 counter sheets. Well, let's say for the moment 3 counter sheets, and then you have a quick reference, which goes up top there. So there you go, 1 quick reference sheet, which is also very nice looking. Now here's some thoughts on assembly. Check this out. What? Watercolor paper? What are you talking about, Eddie? Well, this cardstock here is about 110 pound. I don't know how you do pound weight, the paper poundage thickness in like Europe. Like for example, this is 140 pounds, 300 grams square. I'm not quite sure how you'd measure this in Europe, but I learned there is a difference from my wife's scrapbooking. But in America, well, other places that use it, but here we go by 140 pound. This what I got from the store is probably about 140 pound heaviness on the paper. Well, not this, but this is about 110. This is about 110. Now, watercolor paper, this was the heaviest we could find. This is about 140. And I'm going to take one sheet out. Well, attempt to carefully pull out a sheet. Now, this is nowhere near a counter thickness for like a board game. But I'm going to cut this by hand on like a guillotine. So I wanted something that's got a little more rigidity, but is thin enough that I could cut it either with scissors or my guillotine. But once I actually put on here my, my other cardstock for the mat pieces, it's not going to be super rigid, but it's going to have a little more heft to it. So we found this 140 pound watercolor paper, glue my cardstock to it, cut the pieces out, perforate along here, and this will give it some rigidity. It's not just flimsy paper that's going to get crumpled up really easy. This gives it a little bit of staying power on your board. And then do the same thing with the counters. Now again, this is just paper. Maybe next time I'll print the cardstock as well. But it's just paper. But just print this on here or glue it on. And then the guillotine, we'll be able to cut all these out, straight down. He's got these nice guidelines. Boom. And then you can see them guidelines down here. So if you have a guillotine, you'll be able to cut these. I'm hoping, I might have to have my wife do this. I don't do very good with cutting stuff. But again, put this to thick watercolor. That gives your counters some rigidity. It gives them a little bit of staying power on the mat board. They're not just going to simply blow away if somebody waves their hand or something like that. But it will allow you to cut them by hand easily. And then I think this is going to look great. So I'll be able to do all 3. Like I said, it's 3. Unless I've misplaced a counter sheet. I thought there was 4 sheets of counters, but if I've lost one somewhere, I'll have to print it out again. But I've got 3 that I'll do. So I'm excited to put this together, but that's my newest thought on putting these things together is use really heavy watercolor paper. So we'll see how that looks. But there you go. There's a look at your components. There's a look at, you got rules that you can go to Board Game Geek, download and look at. And if you decide to get this, pick it up. Let me know what you think of it. If you already have it, let us know what you think of the game. Like I said, I can't wait to get into this myself. I'm very slow at putting projects together, but I'm very excited to put this together. I'll tell you one reason I'm very excited is I've actually watched, I'm not quite sure the first time I saw some videos, but I believe I did see these videos with Jason kind of doing some short little videos of his design ideas and some things he was putting together and the evolution of the game a little bit. And I was like, wow, I'd really like to try that out. So I was very happy when Jason asked if I wanted to, do a review of this. I said, well, yeah, let's have it. And I printed out the components last night, so I'm going to work on assembly today. And then once I have a chance to, put it together, I want to show everybody as well and let you know what he's got. Because it does use a handful of dice. Like I said, we'll find out exactly how many dice, but I know that you're going to be rolling maybe a small handful of dice at a time. And then you use those dice to assign order points to troops, and then as they do activities, you reduce from the dice. But that was my first impression. I'll be able to tell everybody better how it plays once I get it. But if you have played it, let us know. Share your thoughts on it. And if you do print and play games, also share your ideas on construction. It seems like every time I put together a new print and play game, I'm trying out something different. I've never used watercolor paper before. My wife thought of that, so I thought I'd give it a try. I had someone else say they used PVA glue or the white Elmer's glue to put their stuff together. I just used the spray glue because I think the PVA would be kind of messy. But someone said that's what works for them. But if you have other ideas on how to put print and play together, let us know. And share your tips, because I'm excited to kind of get a print and play community going. And so I was very excited that Jason wanted to send something over, which kind of helped support that. He might not have known he was supporting a print and play community, but he does now for sure. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.